right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you YouTubers. I'm here with my friend Joy, and we are going to be doing something that she's a little bit scared of. She hasn't even done it in her third grade class yet, but I'm so confident that she can do it. So we're going to learn together. Right, Joy?
Yes.
Okay, so in front of us we have all these different color strips of paper, right? And I told you that we're going to do some fractions, right? And when I say the word fractions, how does that make you feel?
Nervous because I'm bad at it.
Everybody thinks that they're bad at fractions, but I told her I don't think that she's going to be bad at fractions with me because I love fractions. So, let's say that this is a candy bar or a fruit roll-up. What do you want it to be?
Candy bar.
A candy bar? So what does that say on the candy bar?
A one whole.
So this is one whole candy bar, right? So my mom, she doesn't let me eat too much candy because she says she don't want my teeth to fall out. So every day she gives me one candy bar and I can't have any more than one candy bar. So on Monday I had this one whole candy bar. It was delicious and I told you about it at school the next day. Like, oh, my mom let me have this whole candy bar, a whole Butterfinger all to myself. It was amazing. Okay? The next day my mom gives me another whole candy bar. But since you heard about it, you were like, hold up. Let me get some of that candy bar. So I said, since we're friends, we can share this candy bar. How can we share it fairly? Can you fold it to show me how we could share it fairly? And then open it up. And I want you to take this marker and I want you to draw a line on the fold. Okay, now it's one whole candy bar, but are you going to get one whole candy bar?
No.
How much are you going to get?
1/2.
Do you know how to write 1/2 as a fraction?
1/2.
That's correct. That's your unit fraction. So on this side, we write 1/2, and on the other side, write 1/2. Okay, and then look, on this one, can you write it like, that's not wrong, but for some kids, it's a little confusing when they're first learning about fractions. Is that also 1/2, the way I wrote it? Okay, so keep it just like that. All right, so is 1/2 more or less than a whole?
It's less than a whole.
How many halves make one whole?
2.
2. Okay, so then you went to school and you told Kelsey, you're like, Kelsey, I hung out with Mrs. Steppa. She had this Butterfinger and we split it in half. It was so good. And then, so the next day I got my new candy bar. Kelsey went and told her sisters too, because you know Kelsey's always hanging out with her sisters who help her with math. One of her sisters came with her. So now it's me, you, Kelsey, and her sister. All want some of this candy bar. How many people want some of this candy bar?
Me, Kelsey, her sister, and me. So 4.
So I'm going to have to split this candy bar fairly between 4 people. Oh, Lord. Well, let's fold it in half at first. Fold it in half like the last one. All the way in half. Press down nice and hard. And then fold the half. Don't open it yet. Fold the half and half again. And push it down nice and hard. And then open it up. Do we have enough equal parts?
Yes, we do.
How many equal parts do we have?
4.
What can we call those parts?
We call them...
We can't call them halves because halves are bigger than these pieces, right? We have 4 of them though, right? Can we call them fourths?
Yes.
Fourths, because there's 4 of them, right? How many fourths make one whole?
4.
4. Do you know how to write 1/4 as a fraction?
1 the slash down the middle 4.
Yeah. So I want you to put 1/4 in every one of those pieces after you trace the lines. Here, you can use the marker so it'll show up better. So Joy, how much of the fraction bar am I getting?
You're getting 1/4 1/4.
How much are you getting?
1/4.
How about Kelsey and her sister? How many fourths would they get together?
2/4.
2/4. What about all the kids? How many fourths would the kids get versus me? I'm an adult.
3/4.
3/4, right? Do you notice anything similar about 1/2 and fourths? What do you notice?
That they're written the same and they both have a 1 in.
Because it's one piece, right? What else do you notice about the size of the candy bars? So here's the half of a candy bar. What do you notice about here? What do you notice
They're
about
both halves.
They're both halves. How many fourths make half?
A half would be 2.
2 what?
2/4.
2/4. That's weird because in whole numbers, 2 is half of 4. Isn't that a little bit tricky? But the more times I cut my candy bar, the smaller the pieces are going to get. Okay. All right. Well, now Kelsey and her sister went and ran their mouth to more friends. And then Ashley said she got all her work done in class, so now she's coming. So we got all these people bum rushing me on this next day. I'm about to get my candy bar. So my mom gives me my candy bar. Guess how many people are there? I'm going to tell you.
It's 5.
It's going to be more than that. I'm going to show you how many. First, fold your candy bar in half. Then fold it in half again. Fold it in half again.
That's probably like 6.
You think 6? How'd you think about that before you open it up?
Because I know 2 times 3 equals 6, and I folded it 3 times.
Oh, that's cool. I like how you're thinking about that with math. Let's open it up and see if you're right, if it's 6 equal parts.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was close.
You were close. This is really cool though, because there is some relationships here. Go ahead and draw your lines. And if there's 8 equal parts, what can we call those parts?
1/8.
1/8, yes. How many 8ths would make one whole candy bar?
8.
Yep. And go ahead and write your unit fractions in there too, your 1/8. A unit fraction is just a fraction that has a 1 on the top. It's just the one piece. So like this would be 1/8 and 1/8, but if I put them together, how would I write that fraction?
2/16.
Nope.
2.
Go ahead.
8.
Yeah, it would be 2/8, right? But go ahead and finish writing that and I'll show you what I mean, okay? All right, so we were talking about a unit fraction is one piece out of some equal parts, right? So then you were probably wondering, well, what is it like if it's not a unit fraction, right? So if you gave me 2 of these pieces, would I just have 1/8?
No, it would be 2/8.
So how do you think on the table I would write 2/8? Well, what if I had 4 of those 8ths? How much of the candy bar would I have?
You would have 4/8.
4/8. How would I write that? I wonder how many 8ths would make half of the candy bar.
It would make 8.
How many 8ths would make half of the candy bar?
8.
Cut that candy bar in half with your hand. Just show me where would half be.
2, 3,
Those are 8ths, right?
4.
If I have halves, remember when we did our half? That was 2 equal parts, right? So if I cut that candy bar in half, how many 8ths make a half of a candy bar?
4.
4. Okay. How many 8ths do you think would make a fourth of a candy bar?
2.
So halves, the whole is the biggest, right? And then half of a whole is a half, right? Half of a half is a
1/4.
fourth. And then if I cut the fourth in half, what's it going to give me?
Another 1/4.
If I cut this in half, it'll be smaller than a fourth. Look at your eighths. I cut it in half, what would it give me? What size is this piece?
1/8.
1/8. If I have 2/8, will that make a fourth? So half of 2 is 1/8. Half of 2/8 is 1/8, right? Is your brain about to explode?
Yes.
Pretty crazy, huh? We're almost done. We're gonna do thirds and sixths, and then I'll let you play around for a little bit, okay? So now what I did was I kind of folded it so it looked about halfway, and I folded over like a burrito. So how many equal parts do you think this one's gonna be?
3.
3? What should we call those parts?
I don't know.
We called halves are halves. That one doesn't sound right. Fourths, we called fourths because there's 4. Eighths, we called eighths because there's 8, so 3. Could we call them thirds?
Yes.
Because it sounds like 3 thirds. Let's do that. How would I write 1/3? What do you think? Okay. Okay, now draw your lines where those thirds separate. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this one thirds too. While this is sitting like that. Try my best. These thirds are tricky to fold it like a burrito, because I'm trying to, like, if I fold my thirds wrong, like if I folded it like in 3 parts like this, can that be thirds?
Yes, it could.
Why?
Because it's
3 parts?
yes.
Okay, so now I got an idea. Since if those are thirds, let me set my phone up. I'm really gonna need somebody to help me get famous on YouTube, so I can get some.
I will.
Yeah, you're gonna help me, so I can get someone to help me have a studio. So I can like I just want it to like be at the top of the table, so I don't have to keep going back and forth. Okay.
Can you not put it on your face?
I tried, but it doesn't always work. I don't know. I'm still in. Okay, so if these are thirds, and this is my candy bar, is this fair?
No. Because this is a little bit bigger than these two.
Oh, so can I call it thirds if it's not equal parts?
No.
No, so that wouldn't be fair. But I think this one, I tried really hard to fold it so that it's equal parts. So now I have thirds, right? Let's see if they look equal. Those look equal, right? But then what I'm gonna do, because every time I've been halving, so I've taken my half, and when I half my half, it gets a fourth. I half my fourth, it gets an eighth, right? So now I have thirds, but I'm gonna fold them in half like that. Here, you do it, but you're gonna have to press down pretty hard. Make
Like
sure.
that?
Nope, we're not gonna do it in thirds again. That would give us a different fraction. That could be cool. We'll fold it in half first, and then press it nice and hard, and then before you open it. So I cut each of these thirds in half, so there would be 2 pieces for each third, right? How many pieces do you think it will be when you open it up?
I say about 6.
6? All right, open it up and see. Why do you say 6?
Because I know 3 times 2 equals 6.
Yeah?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Were you correct?
Yes.
Excellent. Good. Go ahead and label those with a fraction. What should we call this one if it's 6 equal parts? We call them sixths.
Yes.
Okay. Sixths. I hate saying that one, but makes sense. Sixths. How many sixths make 1/3, Joy?
2.
How many sixths would make 1/2?
1/2. 4. About 3.
Oh, that makes sense because 3 is half of 6, right? Awesome. All right, I'm going to let you finish labeling those up. Okay. All right, so we finished up making our fraction tiles and we cut them carefully along the lines. So we have a whole, and then we call these pieces how much? What are these
1 1/2.
They're called halves, right? How many
Yeah.
halves make a whole?
2.
And we call these pieces what?
1/4.
Fourths, right?
Yeah.
And how many fourths make a whole?
4.
They are 1/4 pieces, you're right. We call these pieces,
Thirds.
and how many make a whole?
3.
These are called
6.
sixths, and how many make a whole?
6.
And these are called what?
8.
Eighths, and how many eighths make a whole?
8.
What's bigger, 1/4 or 1/8?
I'm gonna have to say 1/8.
Okay, pull out 1/8 and pull out 1/4 and check.
Oh, it's 1/4.
1/4 is bigger. Why did you initially think 1/8? That's a very common mistake.
8 is a bigger number than 4.
Right. So if you just think about whole numbers, 8 is bigger than 4. But is that true with fractions?
No.
So the bigger the denominator at the bottom, the smaller the piece, because this means that I cut my whole 8 times. And this means that I cut my whole
4 times.
4 times. So eighths are actually going to be smaller than fourths, right? Okay. What piece do you think would be bigger? 1/3 or 1/6? What do you think?
1/3.
1/3? Because it's cut less than a sixth? Couldn't trick you on that one. All right, I'm trying to think about cool stuff that I can do. Can you show me 3/6? Can you pull 3/6 out? And put them in front of you? Okay, bring them down here. And line them up. Okay, and then underneath it, let's write the fraction.
It would be like
What do you think?
3.
Okay, so now I want you to look up there and I want you to see, do you see a piece that's the same size as 3/6?
I would have to check before I
Okay.
say something.
Is that the same size? Oh, it's the same size as 2/6 though, right? Okay, try another one.
No.
Well, hold on. What if you took 2 of them? Do you think two of those pieces can equal 3 of those 6?
No.
Like, let's stack it on top. Like, I wonder if that would work. We'll keep our 3/6 here. But what if we put this here? If you put another 4th, do you think it would be the same?
Probably.
Ooh.
Or if you probably added this.
Put that on top. Would that be the same also?
Yes.
Oh my god. So this means that 3/6 is the same as
1/4.
how many
and
fourths?
4.
How many
2.
fourths? So let's write 3/6 equals, because that equals means it's the same as 2/4. And then do another equals. Because we said it also equals what?
1.
1/2?
Yeah.
Can you do half with eighths?
I don't know.
If you, how many eighths, what's half of 8?
Half of 8 would be 4.
Do you think 4/8 would make a half? Let's see. Ooh, does that one work too? Let's add it to the bottom.
4. 8.
So these fractions, they all represent the same amount, right? They're called equivalent. Say that big old word.
Equivalent.
Yep, they're all equivalent. They all represent the same amount. You just did so much fraction work. It's crazy how much fraction work you just did and how much you're going to help other kids and teachers work with fractions. Was it scary or was it fun?
It was fun.
You still scared of fractions? Okay, do you want me to take you to the next level? I might have to do another video with you when we do mixed numbers and improper fractions. We can do that next. Are you so excited about the fraction unit coming up? All right, you get to sign us off. You can say whatever you want signing off.
I would give a shout out to my mom,
Aww. What's your
It was-
mom's name?
Jessica.
Oh, what do you want to say to your mom?
I love her.
You gotta look in the camera with your beautiful eyes. Say, I love you, Mom.
I love you, Mom.
And she's a teacher, right? And tell her how much you appreciate her being a teacher.
I appreciate you being a teacher to help students in the community to be more educated.
Yes. We love teachers. Awesome. Thank you, Joy.